I don't discredit the sport. I discredit the so-called executives of the sport, the people that are supposedly supposed to be enforcing the sport, looking out for the sport, ruling over the sport. I put an indictment on them. An indictment on them. They are corrupt. I have no problem saying it. They are corrupt.
Thank you, guys. Michael Montero again. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a broken record. This question is for Mr. Bob Bennett. Same question. Sir, with all due respect, we've had several controversial scores here in Nevada in recent years. Rarely anything is done. Obviously, this was not a 10 rounds to 2 fight. This was a close fight. Neither fighter won more than 7 or 8 rounds. Is there going to be anything done about Judge Adelaide Byrd? Will there be an investigation? Maybe you'll sit down with her, watch the fight again, have her rescored? What's the plan?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate both fighters and both promoters. I think the fight was very competitive. Why don't you just be patient for a second instead of waving your hand? You're asking me a question. I take full responsibility and accountability for my team, okay? Adelaide Byrd has had over 115 championship fights or elimination bouts. Unfortunately, tonight, she didn't do well. She was off the ball, you know? So
it's not the first one.
Well, I beg to differ with you. If you go ahead and look at her last 3 years, for every fight that she's had, you will find that she's very close to scoring every fight correctly. I have looked at her record over the last 3 years. I've got the records from Fight Facts. So if you've looked at them, then you tell me if I'm wrong.
I think there have been several fights in recent years that fans who are spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for these fights feel the scoring is not adequate. And in this situation where you had 2 judges score a close fight, which is what 22,000 people saw, millions of people at home, and one judge saw 10 rounds to 2, I think what we want, sir, and I'm not trying to be a pain in the butt, I'm just asking, what will be done about this because it's not the first time? Is there a plan to work with some of these judges to find out what they're missing that millions of other people are seeing? Because neither fighter won more than 8 rounds tonight. That's all I'm asking, sir. This 10 rounds to 2 is just a little too wide. A lot of people here are scared to say what I'm saying. I might lose a press credential for the rematch for saying this. But I'm asking what millions of fans, I'm doing my job because a lot of people want me to ask these questions and a lot of people here are scared to ask. I just want to know what will be done. Is there a plan?
Yeah, of course there's a plan.
A lot of people are not understanding 118, 110, just like myself. That's the bottom line, but I have to say that Byrd, yes, is a competent judge. She's been doing lots of world titles for many years. But yes, 118, 110, okay, yes it is. And I can understand 115, 113, and the draw, 114, 114. I mean, personally, I had it 7-5 Canelo. And people can argue, it could have gone either way. Because it was such a great fight. I mean, that's the bottom line. I think this is probably one of the best fights we've seen in recent years. These guys fought their heart out. Ganetti's a tremendous champion, and Canelo's a tremendous champion. You know, and everybody has their opinion, but that's what made it such a great fight. You know, and I mean, I do feel bad for Byrd for taking a lot of heat now. 118, 110. That was pretty widespread. I have to admit. But look, this is boxing. She's, like I said, a very competent judge and has been judging for many years. And Las Vegas is one of the best commissions in the world. So I personally felt that boxing won today. I think boxing. It was a win-win-win for everyone. I think this is what the sport needed, a fight like this. a fight like this with Triple G and Canelo.
There's no way that you see 118 to 110 for Canelo and you say, well, it's just a mistake. It was just my judge. No, it's not a mistake. That can't be a mistake. Look, this sport has shown history.
I'd like to respond.
We all want to ignore it, but this sport has shown history of corruption. The IBF, years ago, Bob Lee, the president, he got caught on videotape taking money. He was the president of the IBF. Everyone forgets a few years ago, there was a woman judge, $30,000 wound up in her bank account after a bad decision. What is that? What is that? The sport is a great sport. It's the greatest sport of all.
You made your living in it.
The greatest sport of all. It's the only sport. This life, this world can be unfair, okay? Sometimes we make too many excuses, we do, and we try to play ourselves as victims, and we're not victims in this beautiful country. We can be anything we want to be. But sometimes, even with that, life is unfair. This is the sport, the one sport where on any given night, a kid from anywhere, from dirt floors to where he was from a country that he didn't have the rights, he didn't have money, he had nothing but poverty, he didn't have parents, he didn't have anything. But he had it in his chest, in his heart, to work hard, to get in that ring, to be ready, to be trained. And on one given night, he can have his hand raised and be called champion of the world and make life fair, make the world fair. It's the only sport that can do that. The sport is beautiful, but the administrators of the sport, they stink. How often, Stephen?
It's a damn shame.
How often,
It's a damn
Stephen?
shame.
We're going to be doing this again a month from now. We're going to be doing this again 3 months
And
from
a lot
now.
of sports.
But not as much as this
I love the sport of boxing too much to do that to them.
And the
I'm not going to do that to the sport.
Stephen,
This decision by this judge was bogus.
The environment, the landscape of the sport is set up to be corrupted. It's set up. There's no separation of church and state. It's where the people making money with the people controlling and administrating the sport. There's no separation. The promoters are allowed to pick judges. They're allowed to be involved in saying who doesn't judge and who does judge. When you have that kind of closeness between the people making money and the people administrating the sport, there's a landscape for corruption. You can't put people together like that. One person wants to make money, the other person's supposed to be in charge and be the police. You can't put them together like that.
Teddy, wherever there's big money, there's room for corruption. We understand that, but that's not restricted to the sport of boxing.
But
at the end of the day, two guys got in the ring. They fought valiantly for 12 rounds. We have a problem with one judge's decision. That's what this comes down to.
We
have a problem with one judge's decision.
There's money to be made in the casino business, but there is an oversight board to make sure there's no corruption. There's no oversight board in boxing. There's no commission. There's no national commission. No federal guidelines. Nobody looking and saying, can't do that. Can't do that. You can't be in charge. Promoter can't be in charge of who the judges are going to be. No, of course you want these judges. You can't be in charge. We're in charge. We're going to oversee it. We're going to police it. We're going to make sure that there's no corruption. There's nothing. There's everywhere else in the garment business, there's corruption. But there's an oversight. In the Wall Street, there's corruption. But there's an oversight. There's no oversight. She will be working again. I'll make you a bet.
And I do have to admit, in front of Bob here, that 118, 110, and Bob is not the judge, but 118, 110, yes, it was a bit widespread, but what I am hearing, chatter and social media, I'm hearing, look, it was a close fight. It was a great fight, actually, because we haven't seen this type of action in such a long time.